You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Days of Our Lives fans, it looks like Xander Kiriakis and Sarah Horton are finally on the road to reconciliation. Right now, Xander's doing anger management therapy, but when Sarah considers whether couples therapy could fix what they broke, will Xander agree? Or is he still too angry and he doesn't want to spend more time in counseling? It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and let's talk about hunky Xander and his estranged wife, Sarah, and where they go from here. Hit that like and subscribe if you're not following us. Now let's dive right in. So Xander and Sarah have been separated for many months now, but it looks like things are changing and it's moving along at a faster pace now, heading towards reconciliation. After their daughter Victoria's second birthday party, Xander accepted Sarah's apology for pushing Phillip to confess about his beating. Both Xander and Phillip strongly reiterated that it was not Xander who attacked Phillip. That's a big fat lie, but the Kiriakis brothers are sticking to it, and it's starting to sell. It's starting to work. However, Xander may worry that if he agrees to marriage counseling with Sarah, working with Marlena, that the truth about Phillip's assault could come out. And then it's the fact that he did beat him and then repeatedly lied to Sarah about it. That was the moment that many Xarah fans have been waiting for. The long-awaited reconciliation, and it looks like they're on the road to it, but there's speed bumps. Xander had been livid that Sarah lied to him about Phillip's fake letter to get part of Victor's estate, and of course Sarah had her reasons, but to Xander, all he sees is that she betrayed him. Things got much worse when Sarah was certain that Xander beat his smarmy brother Phillip nearly to death, and we all know Phillip is covering for Xander, and that protection goes both ways for the Kiriakis brothers. They have linked themselves through these two lies, the forgery and the assault. So despite Phillip and Xander lying to her face, we saw Sarah apologize for wrongly accusing Xander of the assault. And again, all of us watching know Xander and Phillip are lying and gaslighting Sarah because Xander is 100% guilty of attacking Phillip. And now that Sarah is forced into this position where she has to accept that Xander's innocent, we've seen her warming up to her estranged husband. Sarah has been impressed by the notable steps that Xander has taken with his anger management therapy with Marlena, and Sarah can sense something different about Xander. For example, he's under a lot of stress right now because of this Tony DiMera lawsuit that's hanging over Titan. However, under all that stress, Xander is still using the breathing techniques that he learned from Marlena, and he is fighting that need to rage. So he is showing some growth. Now, it was Sarah that insisted that Xander do the anger management therapy because Sarah worried his temper could affect Victoria's life. Not that Xander would put their daughter in danger, but it's just not a great example to set, him being so volatile like he is. So far, Marlena's therapy seems to be working a charm on Xander, but once Sarah goes to her husband and asks him about signing up for couples counseling with Marlena, the big question is, how will he respond? Will Xander be open to it? Because it could put his family back together, or it could make everything so much worse. Now, we all know Xander and Sarah are both still wearing their wedding rings, and Sarah wasn't quite sure how to answer when Marlena asked her earlier this week about Xander enrolling with her in couples therapy. But there's still love there. They've got their rings on, so I think that's enough for them to move forward. Sarah is all for the couples therapy, but she needs to get Xander on board. And this could be a great thing for Sarah and Xander both, because they both felt betrayed by the other. However, the big roadblock and issue is that Xander is persisting. He's still lying to Sarah about beating Phillip. And to be fair, Xander's brother is lying through his teeth too. However, Our leaker told us that Xander's brother Phillip is going to be a key player in the effort to get Xander and Sarah back together and getting back on the road to their happily ever after. So Phillip and Xander sticking to this lie about the beating has helped because Xander finally got an apology from Sarah for her false accusation against him. But that help could turn into a hindrance when the truth of the matter comes out. If it ever does come out, Phillip and Xander may take this to their graves, but our leaker recently told us that yes, Xander is considering couples therapy and that he will give Sarah an answer by the end of this week. But will that answer from Xander be yes? I mean, it could go either way. He may say yes without any conditions, or he may tell Sarah yes, but insist they don't discuss the Phillip beating incident in therapy. And if Xander refuses to do the marriage counseling with Sarah and Marlena, I think it is most likely going to be because of the lie that's hanging over his head. Sarah would be so hurt and angry and also have a moment of, I knew it, if she learns that Xander lied about beating Phillip. I mean, to be real, if Xander truly wants a fresh start with Sarah, he needs to come clean and be open and honest with her. After all, dishonesty and betrayal are what led Xander and Sarah down the road to the split and legal separation in the first place. So the big question ahead is, will Xander have to own up to the fact that he brutally attacked his brother Phillip? I mean, Kate Roberts would love to see him spend more time behind bars for almost killing her precious son. But if you recall, after Xander was arrested, they had to drop the charges because Phillip lied and said a random stranger beat him up. And Kate and Sarah were mad about that. And until very recently, Sarah still believed that Xander did the deed, but now Sarah has been convinced. I doubt anybody is going to convince Kate, though. So if they do go into couples counseling, will Xander come clean? Or will that beatdown be the reason he decides that he has to avoid couples counseling, at least for now? Either way, I don't see Phillip turning around and pressing charges, no matter what Kate and Sarah may say to him. But with Sarah, it's not whether or not Xander's arrested, it's whether he did it, and now whether he's been lying to her face after acting all betrayed for her lying to his face. So it's a big catch-22. But we know from our leaker, Phillip's going to be helping all he can to put their marriage back together, and Xarah is supposed to be reunited by the holidays. So we'll have to wait and see what works, if it's counseling or maybe it's Phillip's influence that fixes Xander and Sarah, or maybe a combination of the two.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.